10th episode of Morning Coffee and Chat. It's a great day to be alive. I will be honest with you. It is an amazing day to be alive. Um, it's been a pretty crappy week. It's been actually a pretty crappy week and a half. Um, I'll be honest. I'll get this out of the way, and I will do my best to not touch on it the rest of the stream. Week and a half ago, um, we received word that local minister, just 2 days after doing his church's food pantry, and it's a food pantry that we regularly went to. He went out of his way. He didn't serve a large community, but he well served the community that came, and he ran it on a Sunday right after church service. He was in there laughing, joking, the same as he always did. I mean, we've gone there before, and we've got hams, we've got eggs, we've got snacks, but we've got that well-rounded, and they expected you to walk in there and get 2 boxes full of food and health and beauty supplies and other things, fresh vegetables. Um, but just 2 days after he ran his service 2 Sundays ago, a week ago, this yesterday, um, he died. He died, and the church has got no clue who's going to be the new minister, who's going to run the food pantry, who's going to go back and work on the negotiations um, for the pantry to keep feeding, families and stuff. Um, it's very troubling because I had actually, and I got my dates all wrong. It was not 2 Sundays ago. It was 3 Sundays ago. It was immediately right before, you know, Halloween weekend. Um, but last week, let's take the knife in and twist it a little deeper. Last week, I uh, I prepared to go to work on Tuesday, and I was informed that my services were no longer needed after 15 months with them. Um, my services were no longer needed. It was getting to that time of the year, and all this with the holidays coming up. We do Thanksgiving dinner for the whole family since we are technically the patriarch and matriarch of the family. We are in the matriarch's household. Tradition has always been, Thanksgiving and Christmas here. Um, there's a lot going on. We were counting on the pantry to. What is my wife, buddy? Uno momento, por favor. Any of you that's married knows how important it is not to keep the wife waiting. Hmm. But yeah. So needless to say, it's not been a good couple weeks now, and yeah. Let me see here. Tony, good morning, bud. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Clark. Good to see you. Um, Actually, no. Unemployment was not filed. Um, we were basically told when I called about unemployment that, you know, with the government shutdown and everything, I had a slim to no chance of even getting it. I was probably with my health issues and stuff. I was better off filing for disability. I went through an attorney service that the wife's uncle went through, and they were on the ball. They even sent you to the doctor, without insurance, sent you to the doctor to get up to date information from the doctor, and so they could use it in the case. And they seem to think between my untreated diabetes, since they cut my insurance off 2 years ago, my blood clot medicine, my heart medicine, um, my blood pressure medicine, my diabetes medicine, I haven't had any of it in 2 years. And now, losing my eyesight and stuff, they seem to think that we have, pardon the phrase, a balls to the wall solid case of getting my disability. So, yeah, it's been very interesting. Luckily, before all this happened, I got, you know, a couple birthday presents in the form of little green and gray pieces of paper. And that's the only way I've still got my cigars and stuff, is I've been using that money that I was going to put into new equipment, um, from, my parents and everything, my sister, and been using it to live on because, I hadn't made any purchases yet. So, yay. But yeah, it's been real interesting. Um, oh, we have another listener in here. I don't know if he's here yet or not. Russell, welcome in. It's probably not going to be the best live stream to break in with, but hey, we have fun. Good morning, Clark. Hope you're doing good this morning, bud. Sorry we didn't get a chance to sit down yesterday and play with that live stream. I did figure out how to make everything work, and we'll just basically do it live, on like a Friday evening or something like that. And with the new live stream setup here on the platform, we can basically live stream together. So, we don't even need that other app that for some reason won't connect to the Paranormal Papa channel. Um, there it is. Okay. Start to say. Oh, and I forgot. 3 days ago. Yeah, I know. It always happens in, like triples and stuff like that. 3 days ago, the wife had to work from like 4 o'clock in the afternoon until midnight. Somebody called off, of course, being a dual rate and a banker and everything. She got the esteemed pleasure of going in and working the weird hours, but left me and the old kiddo, our newest type 1 diabetic. Um, and she ate dinner. She dosed herself properly. Her mom left for work. It wasn't a half hour later. For some reason, her blood sugar shot from 150 to 325. So I had her do an emergency dose. It it was only like 5 units, 7 units, something like that. She went from 350 down to 200 and then shot straight back up to 250 again. So, I was trying to give her as much protein as I could to bring it down. And boy, did it ever come down. I gave her five slices of salami and a little bit of peanut butter on bread, of course, because her endocrinologist says you can't eat protein that you don't eat carbs at the same time. My endocrinologist never said that. My endocrinologist is teaching endocrinologist now in Boston. But, every doctor's got their own method of dealing with stuff, I guess. But she went from 250 down to 35 in like 25 minutes. So then she's sitting there and she's trying to snack on things and bring it back up to a safe level, eating protein and carbs at the same time. And I said, if blood sugar's low, you don't want to eat protein because it thins out the protein molecules and it's going to continue to drop unless you're eating equal amounts. And then, of course, it'll just stabilize it right there in that danger level. So I finally got her to listen to me. I poured her a dry bowl of golden grams. Oh, I'm sorry, um, cinnamon toast crunch. And she sat there and just kind of munched on it while she was playing her game. And lo and behold, Dad was right. Brought it back up to about 130 and it leveled out for the night. So maybe I should get a job as an endocrinologist. Not that my 9 years of being a diabetic has taught me anything. So, I mean, that was just, a little bit of, like those pretty little roses on a birthday cake. Yeah, we already had the icing on the cake, so that whole incident just a few days ago was the pretty little roses that went around the border and stuff. Um, oh, I know, Clark. We'll get it figured out. Um, Good morning, Doc. Good to see you. Hope you're doing good. 29 of the crew of the Fitzgerald. Amen to that, bud. Amen to that. My doctor says white bad, brown good as far as bread goes, and try to get bakery if you can. Limit the intake. Bread bad. We get bakery here locally. See, we don't have a bakery around here. Even our supermarket that advertises a deli and bakery and stuff, ours don't have one. you got to travel 30-minute round trip to get to one that has a bakery and a deli and stuff. She basically lives on peanut butter, salami, pepperoni, and bread, of course, which her doctor says is a good source of carbs. Um, when I became diabetic, I ate um, tortillas because I could have two tortillas and get the equivalent, eat less carbs in two tortillas than I could in one slice of bread. And we've also come to find out through my own experience with bread and being a diabetic that sometimes brown has more carbs than white. That's like they got these healthy tortillas out there, the spinach tortillas and stuff like that. They're higher in carbs than the flour tortillas are. What's healthy about it? I don't get it. I don't get it. And believe it or not, for those of us who were born in the 60s, 70s, the good old fashioned white Wonder Bread, they don't have Colonial Bread anymore. It closed down in the 90s. But Wonder Bread with the cute little blue and red and yellow balloons all over the package is the healthiest bread you can eat. And they started making that and haven't changed the recipe in 70 years. But Wonder Bread is the best you can eat. Let me see here. But I love bread. Yellow, very good. Corn bread. Oh, I know, I love cornbread. Had to wake up early for the museum gig today, but figured I'd swing by. I'm glad you did, bud. I'm glad you did. Let me know how that gig goes for you. Um, Being the history buff that you are, I can imagine you're going to take to a museum like flies on cow dookie. Colonial is available at our Walmart. Really? Because I was just looking online because I'd love my daughter to see. We used to take field trips to the Colonial Bakery in Muncie, Indiana when I was growing up. And it was the smell, the hot bread coming out. They'd slice it and they'd give out samples of it. I always loved that. I wanted her to experience it. And since my son lives just outside of Muncie, Indiana, I figured out next time we go down to visit him, I'd take my daughter to the Colonial Bakery and let her experience it. And I looked online and it said that Colonial was bought out by another company in like 92 or something like that. And there was no Colonial bakeries left anywhere. I raise my coffee to the Edmund Fitzgerald memory. They have changed something and wonder it is a lot coarser in texture over the past 2 years or so. And Colonial is the best bread I've had in years. Now, see, our Wonder Bread is softer than I remember it, as a child. But, getting back to what Clark just said, to the Edmund Fitzgerald and her 29 crew members, may they have calm waters sailing through eternity. For those of you that don't live in the Great Lakes region or, the upper Midwest, um, winter has come. To coin Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, winter is not just coming, winter has come. Night before last, we got about 2.5, 3 inches of snow. Temperature dropped down to 30 degrees. It snowed pretty heavy there for a while. Heavy enough that the kittens were trying to rip holes in the screens to get in between the screens and the windows um, outside. Of course, yesterday got up to 34 degrees, so pretty much all the snow melted, except, in the shadows of the trees and stuff like that. Um, and then last night we got uh, probably 4 inches of snow last night. Of course, they called for 3 to 8 in our area between yesterday morning and tonight at 7 p.m. So we'll see how that goes. We were at 24 degrees when I got up this morning. We are sitting at 22. We've dropped 2 degrees. So, but it still says mostly clear. And when I looked at the Doppler earlier, it showed snow to our east and snow to our west, and it's moving down now. When this storm hit, the snow was coming down from Canada across Lake Superior and Lake Michigan, and the rain was coming up from like lower middle and lower Illinois, and they were meeting like almost right above us, and you could just slowly see the white overtaking the pink and the green on the Doppler as it done its progression. So it's been an interesting start to winter. Of course, I went out and I started the car for the wife this morning. Why, I have no clue, because there's no heater in the car. Um, yeah. So basically, the not quite freezing but not quite nice and warm air, I guess, managed to defrost the ice on the windows enough that she could drive this morning. So, yeah, it's always nice. And she couldn't understand why I left my Viking tunic, my wool tunic, um, in the car on Halloween night, because I told her it's going to get awful damn cold out there and you have no heat. And it's big enough that you can squeeze into it all nice and comfy, pull your arms inside, and use your body heat. Plus, the hood is wool and leather. So, yeah, she's pulled that over her head a couple times going to work. Um, Good morning, Santee. Good to see you, bud. Misty, good to see you, love. Haven't seen you in God since forever. I keep. Uh oh, it's progressing. I'm talking too damn much. Let me see here. Um, I keep candles and 3 buddy heaters in my basement, just in case. Got 2 week supply of propane fuel for the heaters. Smart man, smart man. It got awful chilly here. What was it, about a week and a half ago, when the furnace wouldn't light, um, and everybody's bundling up with blankets and everything, and I'm like, guys, we just before Grandma passed away, we got this TV stand, with the little fake fireplace in it. It has a heater on it. Why are you guys walking around here dying to death? We don't have nice warm wool clothes to wear. Well, yeah, no, but we have a real nice little heater. And sure enough, I kicked that sucker on. It warmed our bedroom and the main bathroom and the living room and the kitchen pretty quick. Just let it run on high all night long, or night and the next day. And that's when the furnace people made it out here and got it working just fine. Um, I must be wrong about the bread war. Walmart don't show it at all. Hi Misty, how are you? Tony, I bought my emergency candles at Ace Hardware. We got Santee in chat. Um, I keep 20 gallons of gas and 3 propane bottles here for the generators. Can't say it, I blame you, bud. It's going to be a very interesting winter. Um, I have heard from every major weather station, all of the national weather services, um, and all of our local meteorologists, that they all concur on with what the jet stream and the El Nino, Viva la Viva Riba, speeding on. But they all concur that this is going to be a terrible frickin' winter. There's no other way to put it. I think meteorologists should be allowed to say things like that on the air. Um, hey, warning, warning, it's going to be hell, move south. This is the perfect time to go visit your friend in Arizona. Whatever the case may be, it just it's gonna be a frickin' horror. Get out while you can. Call it what it is. It's gonna be crappy. Oh, 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 oh! And I just glanced over peripherally, with the one good eye, and I looked at my coffee cup, and I thought, oh, the writing on the top of the cake. My coffee pot started going out 2 days ago. Coffee pot started going out. Came in here, started my coffee, had to restart the pot, kept shutting off, had to restart it 5 times. Yesterday morning and this morning, had to restart it 3 or 4 times. Now, once the coffee's brewed and just sitting there being kept warm, it's fine. But the brewing process keeps kicking the power off. So, you know, lost my job, lost my income, no way to feed the family on the holidays, and my coffee pot going out. It's been a great few days. It gets any better, I just may shat myself. Um, It'll snow a lot. Amen to that. I have yet to use my 12,000 watt generator. The 1500 watt will suffice. It snowed here yesterday. We live in Michigan, no surprise about up and down weather. Amen to that, brother. It's going to be a bad winter if the coffee pot is dying. Tell me about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I could drink instant coffee. And we do have a microwave that I can move in here and put on the table, to constantly heat water. Instant coffee. You know how my mom drinks that stuff. Can't lose your sanity. That was gone a long time. Thank you. I'm always looking for that silver lining on a cloud. I'm always looking for it. And you just pointed out the silver lining. Can't lose something that's already gone. How often do you clean the coffee machine? You're supposed to clean them? I'm just kidding. It's got an auto clean on it. Yeah, all I got to do is just twist the little knob and hit the button, and it auto cleans itself. So, uh, about once a month, I'd say, something like that. It's every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. I love you, brother. My sanity is gone too. Brew a pot of vinegar followed by 3 pots of water. I'll do that. I'll do that. Just as soon as this pot's gone, I will brew a pot of vinegar and 3 pots of water. We'll see if that works. Oh, so I've been sitting here whining for 33 minutes. How the hell y'all doing? Hopefully, hopefully good. Um, at least for those of you that are who got bombarded by this pretty recent cool weather. I hope you guys are all staying warm and toasty, Danny. I hope your back is healing up and stuff. For those of you that didn't know, our illustrious mentor um, had back surgery here recently, and he's been suffering. He's been suffering, and I wish I lived closer to him where I could go and take care of him while his beautiful wife is out doing her thing. Um, Alas, it's going to be a long walk. I mean, it's an hour by car. So chances are, by the time I leave here to go to him in the morning, his wife will be getting home. So he won't need me. Um, the vinegar fumes get intense. I wouldn't do it in the room that you are in. Um, Living the dream. I'm all healed up now fighting a small cold. Trick, no truck. Thanks, brother. I'm good. Ready to investigate. Yeah, well, sadly enough, bud, yep, it's snowing again. We're all ready to investigate, and we're at that time of the year now where, you got to take a snow shovel to the cemetery with you um, to dig out the headstones to be able to do anything. I do, however, in the spring want to get to that Jeepers Creepers school. I have seen a lot on the platform about it. So apparently, you and Crystal were not the only ones that found that little place. I seen a couple in the last week. I've seen two other videos people have put out about the Jeepers Creepers school. So yeah, I definitely. And these were not even investigations. These were just abandoned exploration videos. So they are calling for lake effect over this side this morning. Pretty sure the ghosts don't want to be in the cold either. Oh, I have indoor places in the works. Never fret. When it comes to you, I really honestly don't fret. I mean, I'll be honest about it. We won't be hit by it much, if at all. See, that was their big thing with us was, a lot less of the nasty stuff coming down out of Canada, but more so the fact that the lake is warm and the air above it cold. So, well, warm is a subjective. Um, it's not freezing. Let's put it that way. So it's causing more lake effect. But it's really funny because they're getting more snow just south of us than what we are, which is really weird because normally it's this lower directly east of the southern tip of Lake Michigan and just a little bit north of us. But I was watching Storm Chasers yesterday, midday, early afternoon, as a matter of fact, like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And they were down just south of South Bend, Indiana, coming up 31 to South Bend. And uh, they were saying that instead of going west around South Bend, which would take them closer to the lake, that they were going to go east on the south end of South Bend and hit Granger, Indiana, Elkhart, Indiana, stuff like that to make their way where they're going. And it was still snowing there. It was 34 degrees here at that time and not snowing. So just 40 minutes south of us, they had complete snow coverage, and it was still snowing and blowing. Where here it had already stopped. So cheers to our storm chasers out there putting that stuff on the air so people can see what's coming at them and everything. I need to quit talking so much and just smoke. I'm getting tired of wasting all this lighter fluid relighting these things. Oh, let me see here. What the hell's that say? Oh, oh, chat disconnected, then reconnected. How about that? Like that's surprising. I mean, seriously. I don't know if you guys were affected by the solar flares the last 2 days, but what was it? Late morning 2 days ago, we had an instantaneous flash of power. Um, Computer, of course, was running on battery power, but camera beeped, my phone beeped, and the coffee pot shut off, and the lights flashed. And then yesterday, it happened like right around noon. Happened again, and then I seen last night that the sun's been having CMEs for the last couple days that could possibly interfere with the matrix, the grid, the life on this planet. I don't know. What? You need a new coffee percolator. I can get you one. Do you guys remember, like way back when I started, I had that great big bun, those aluminum shiny tanks that made like 3 gallons of coffee? Do you remember? Do you remember when it died? And I got this one here like 3.5 years ago. When that great big bun died, I was brokenhearted. He had been my buddy for 4 years, and I have been looking for another one that I could afford, um, because he was easy. He was easy to use. I'd make like 3 gallons of coffee. I'd come in here, or I'd get done working in here that day, just shut it off, come in the next day, hit the switch, the little light come on. He did everything on his own, re-percolated that hot coffee. When he finally got down to scrimpings and scrapings, I'd take him out and I'd wash him really good, and I'd run hot water through him, and I'd refill him, put the little basket back in the top, put my grounds in there, put the top on. The next morning, come in here, click, and I could percolate 3 gallons of coffee in that thing in the time it takes me to make a pot of coffee in this thing. I don't get it. How is that even possibly close? That 6 cups of coffee percolates this in the same amount of time that 3 gallons of coffee does. Makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me. Um, they gonna hit Montville, Michigan, or did they? I didn't watch long enough to see if they did or not. But I appreciate that, Danny. If you can find me another percolator, I loved my percolator. It's probably cold or pea warm. Glub 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 glub. Oh. just waiting for the big ass asteroid to come and wipe us like the dinosaurs. Larger fire pit or electric element. Yeah, either or. Now, William, Doc, son, you know that asteroid is not that, or that meteor is not going to wipe us out. You know that as well as the rest of us. It's going to come out from around the sun. It is going to, once again, as many of these people have already said, I honestly quit watching anything about Three Eye Atlas. I really honestly did. You know, I would come in here, I would get on here in the morning, and there would be some NASA release of information that it it went around the sun and it hit its perihelix and it shot out the other side and it started firing thrusters and slowing down. It done a non-gravitational acceleration and it was starting to slow down to match the orbit of the Earth. 2 days ago, I seen something on here that was a NASA release that it had completely split into two separate ships. And now there are two motherships that are getting ready to take up an orbit around Earth. You know, over a month ago, before it had even moved around Mars, supposedly 7 smaller ships had broke off of it and were flying in pattern with it. And it moved past Mars and got beautiful photographs of the one main object and the 7 smaller objects. And it was moving past Mars and shooting past Earth and going, and they were maintaining this pattern. And they were going to come out, that they knew it was going to come out the other side of the sun, and there'd be like hundreds of these smaller craft. Regardless, and I mean, you guys know how I look at life. I ain't afraid to die. I'm more afraid to live than I am to die. You know, if it flies by and disappears back into the cosmos, if it stops and little ships break off and they invade the Earth, if it smashes into us, it's going to happen. What are we going to do to change it? One thing about control that life has taught me, you have no control. Poopy caca gonna happen. That's all there is to it. Poopy caca gonna happen. Um, 2 cups are my limit, but sometimes I bend that rule a bit. Oh, I bend that rule every day. I bend that rule every day. I have a pot of coffee at least every day, unless it is bitterly frickin' cold in this room, and then I'll go for a second pot. First contact. It comes from the same system as the wow signal. Yeah, it does. And they actually, that was another news thing 2 weeks ago, is they had started picking up the wow signal from 3i Atlas. Yep. Yep. 2 cups. That won't open my eyes. Yeah, and the earth is flat too. Honestly, I'm more excited for aliens. At least we can fight them or befriend them. It's because of my heart condition. I brew 4 pots a day at least. Jesu criminy. Four pot, 4 pots of coffee a day, man. I would be swinging off the lights. Like I said, I make my 1 pot in the morning when I first wake up to get myself, socially acceptable. And then, depending on how I'm feeling about 4 hours later, I might go get my water bottle from then on, unless it is super freaking cold in here, which, being right now, I'm less than 10 feet from the furnace. It's just outside the door. And I mean, there's just like a little, you know, 2.5 or 3 foot hall space to go into the bathroom. Right before you go into the bathroom is the furnace. So I've got the shortest vent from the furnace. It gets hot in here. So I have to keep this window open through the winter time to keep the equipment cool so it don't overheat. Um, every once in a while, I actually have to turn the fan on low just to get the air to push because it is hot to clear up until that window. Um, yeah, it's this morning is comfortable. I actually woke up this morning. It was hotter than Billy be dogged in this room. I had to put a book over the air vent to drop the temperature down to the point where I could literally sit in here. Crazy. Well, 2 of those pots are shared by the missus. That's because your missus is awesome and she knows how to make her coffee for her. Luckily, my missus drinks iced coffee. So she will take a little bit of warm water and she will put her espresso crap in it. And then she will fill it full of cold water after she gets it stirred into that little bit of hot water. And then she'll throw some ice cubes in it. And then she pours it in a bigger cup and throws some more ice cubes in it. And that's her coffee. She hates hot coffee. So my coffee is safe. Unless, of course, because my missus is smart too. Uh, she will wake up when I get out of bed in the morning and she'll say, "Hey, before you go in there and turn on your coffee pot, can you pour me what's left in the pot into a cup? And when I come out, um, I will put my stuff in it and flavor it and everything and throw some ice cubes in. That way I don't have to use my coffee." Wrapped around your pinky finger. It's better to be whooped than to get whooped. When I did overnight patrol, I went through a couple pots a night. Those were the days. Helped me deal with all the crazy. Retired, but I used to be a mechanic. But to be honest, I am awake 19 to 20 hours a day. Well, that is good allocation of resources. When I done security in South Bend, like, oh God, what, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I was the same way. I had a little coffee pot like that on my desk in the warehouse where I done security. I was constantly doing foot security. I had to cover the entire warehouse, all the power units that were stored in there. I had to go inside each and every one of them. I had to check all the doors. I had to go outside and do perimeter checks. I'd go through 2 or 3 pots of coffee at night. And I'm talking coffee. I'm talking trucker's coffee. I'm talking burn when you urinate kind of coffee. Um, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Dealing with vagrants, trespassers, um, people that actually worked for the company that had some kind of an attitude that would come in the middle of the night to do things and stuff. Um, don't know how many times they would come in the middle of the night, knowing we had security, unlock a door and walk in, and never disarm the alarms. So I'd be at one end of the warehouse doing something, and all of a sudden my alarm would go off, and I'd take off booking it to the other side of the warehouse, and they're in there just letting the alarm go off, power washing a truck or something like that. Oh, we knew you were here and you'd get it. No big deal. Know how many meetings I had with the owner of that place because of his people coming in the middle of the night, and some of them were his partner, the vice president. He just come in the middle of the night and power wash his wife's car or something like that, and just let the alarm blare. Police coming out, surrounding the place. We had millions of dollars of these great big huge enclosed generator power units to go to um, the power stations and stuff up on Lake Huron and everything. And they just sat there and let this alarm go off. Arrgh, to hell. Well, it's Facebook. Huh, how about that? Um, Me too, Tony. Retired due to disability. I actually miss working. The job was always interesting. I run across people I've arrested, and and I look the other way. I have a sleep disorder. I do not go into REM sleep. It is on, off dreams. Wow. See, I have no problem. I guess if I was to categorize my sleep issues as a disorder, it would be the fact that I don't go to sleep and slowly go into REM sleep. I go to sleep and go right into REM sleep. Like the wife and I could be sitting there having a conversation, and I will doze off and automatically I just seconds later start talking in my sleep during a dream. And she has come home from work at, like, 12:30, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be sitting there in my sleep carrying on a conversation, having a dream, and just automatically wake up. There is no easing in and out of REM sleep for me. It's like all of my sleep is REM sleep, um, which is weird because most of the time when I go to sleep at 9 or 9:30 at night and I sleep till 12:30 or 1 o'clock, I wake up and I don't feel like I've slept at all. So they say you're supposed to get the best sleep in REM sleep, but I never feel like I've slept. I could literally. I've been up for 4 hours. I could literally, yeah, I overslept this morning. I got up at like, it hadn't even been up for 4 hours yet. I got up at 5:48 this morning, 5:48, and I could literally go back to bed right now after a pot of coffee and sleep the day. So, um, think I'm gonna grow a beard, but still shave my head. Time to winter up. That was supposed to be on and off. That sounds like kind of a blessing and a curse. Um, in a sense, it is. Maybe. I don't know. That's what I'm doing, Danny. I mean, I'm actually going to let my hair grow a little bit, like maybe, back down to here. But I am growing a beard. Um, Trying to build up my whole Viking kit for this year. I'm going to do an actual traditional Viking encampment for the Ren Fair in May that I do security for in Niles. But I'm building up my Viking kit. I've been what 2 years trying to get the helm. I got the helm now. I got a friend that's getting completely out of reenacting, and he has done Viking. Um, I might be getting some stuff off him. Just never know. Need a good horn to drink out of, even though you can't drink coffee out of it. It's still good for ale, mead, wine, beer. Um, I don't know. Hard telling. Oh, let me see here. I have had this sleep thing for my whole life. That sounds like kind of a blessing curse. I might join you this year. Kilt up and William Wallace it. Good. The more the merrier. Just let me know in plenty of time, and I'll make sure and take the cot for you so you don't have to try to sleep on the ground. And I'll bring extra blankets and stuff like that. And I remember a couple of years ago, old Doc was talking about traveling to Michigan and doing an event with us and stuff, and still ain't seen him. And he even lives 1,000 miles closer than he used to. Kids can't live with them, can't beat them and bury them with the same shovel. Extra blankets. You wear your blankets. Hey, I'll tell you what, there are times when I do that event in the middle of May, it is hotter than Billy be damned. There is no getting comfortable. And there are times I go out there and it is cold as all get out. This year when I went out, I had 3 blankets on top of me at night. It was so cold at night that I would wake up just shaking and shivering. I'd throw another blanket on me. I'd wake up about an hour later, hour and a half later, just shivering and shaking. I'd get up at 4, 4:30 in the morning, go out to start the fire, get the fire stoked up, get the coffee on, and it be just cold. So yeah, I don't take no chances. I always bring extra blankets. Wait, I have my passport and everything, so it's technically possible now. I don't think you need your passport to go from Missouri to Michigan. I don't think you're crossing any internet. I mean, even though it might seem like a whole different, kind of life, between Missouri and Michigan, um, it's not. You don't need a passport. You're good. Now, when I moved to Scotland, then you'll need a passport. But I don't see that happening at least any time in the next 50 years. So I don't know. It would be fun. We stayed up all night at Ghostorama. Was fun. That was great. That was great. And honestly, I can't wait to do it again. I mean, we sat there. We may have dozed off in our chairs a couple times during on a conversation or carrying on a conversation. I mean, at least I know I did. Dozed off for like split seconds, and then I would hear your voice again, and boom, I was wide awake and joined in the conversation until things kind of just a little bit, and I'd doze off again. Then you'd say something, and I'd wake right back up. That was fun. I never had a great kilt, but they look like hell in July to me. Actually, a great kilt. I like wearing a wee kilt because I can wear my jackets and stuff with it. But a great kilt when you're doing old Scottish, definitely fun. And they're not really that hot. They're not really that hot. You stay pretty air conditioned if you wear it properly. And surely flights to Michigan cannot be that expensive, like it's Michigan. Yeah, that's true. They're really honestly not. I don't have my real ID. We fill a bag, dude. A wee kilt, just the kilt itself, not having the sash and stuff with it. It's the difference between 3 yards and 9 yards. I mean, this if you have your kilt done properly, just the kilt itself is 3 yards of material pleated and wrapped around and belted, and then the sash that comes up and over is another 6 yards of wool. So that's the difference between a wee kilt and a great kilt. So it's like a great kilt and a not so great kilt, or a little kilt, a wee kilt. Well, I can tell you that knee breeches and lined waistcoat with muslin shirt was hot as hell. I always enjoyed it. The only time I ever put my coat on and stuff is when it was time to go into battle or something, or when he was doing a dance or something like that. But camp, I had on my knee breeches, my shirt, a waistcoat, and my knee socks with either my colonial shoes or my boots. And then, of course, a hat of some sort. But I already had, 2 layers on up here and 1 layer on down here, plus the socks and stuff. And I, I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that I like, or the heat don't bother me. But Yeah. Sometimes when you're running around out on the field, the coat does get a wee bit hot. Um, my kilt is very breathable, but it does get warm. The waistcoat and breeches were heavier. Burgundy wool. Burgundy. Oh, cool. Um, I got to make a beeline to the P line. Um, talk real nice amongst yourselves. I'll be back before I got a mess to clean up. Touch my tears with your lips. Touch my heart with your fingertips. And we can have forever. And we can love forever. Don't know who that was. What is that? 0 bucks needed. Okay, whatever. Nothing is free. I don't know what that is. That is TikTok. That is Soul Sync Paranormal. That is Paranormal Playground. Daily Woo. Timu. Dollar breakfast special at McDonald's. Hey, woo. Wish I had $1. All right. We're back. All right. Let's get back into this. There is probably a strike. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Dude, your kilt is a black watch. My kilt is a black. I got one utility kilt that's a black watch. Very cool. If you're gonna, I'll tell you what. If you're gonna come out and do black watch um, at the fair, I'll forego Viking and do black watch myself since I do. I'm head of security out there. That would be kind of appropriate to have you know black watch soldiers at a medieval English camp. It'd be kind of cool. Pineapple sounds good at the moment. It does, don't it? The pineapple sounds amazing right now. My family's tartan was one pineapple away from, oh, one pinstripe away. One pineapple away. It's one pinstripe away from a black watch. My family had like three different tartans. We had an everyday tartan, we had a hunting tartan, and we had a winter tartan. The winter was basically white and had the black, red, and yellow um, stripes on it. Our hunting tartan was a green tartan base with blue, white, yellow, and red. And then our everyday tartan was blue with the black, white, red, and yellow. So, I mean, kind of crazy. But yeah, we had different tartans. But, we were associated with the Mackenzies, um, being the security basically for the Mackenzie clan for over 200 years. So, we had to have those proper royal guard garb along with just our uh, regular tartans. Your clan was the bronze. Oh, nice. We're currently looking into my family tartan. I found out last year I'm 89% Dane and Irish on my father's side and Welsh, French Canadian, Ojibwe on my mother's side. My surname is Holroyd. We come from York. Good morning, Jan. Good to see you, love. Hope you're doing good this morning. Try genealogy. I am 50% Irish, 25% English, 25% Scottish. See, that's real close to mine, Tony. My family, but the one thing too that you have to remember is English, Irish, and Scottish, along with several other groups in Northern Europe, were the genetics are strongly influenced by the Norse and the Danes because of them constantly moving and settling and conquering different areas. Um, and see, that's where a lot of my genetics come from is the fact that I'm Irish, Scottish, and English, but I have Danish and Norse influence through all of them. So, yeah, that's why I started taking on the Norse persona at a lot of my events was because if it wasn't for the Danish and the Norse influence in all three cultures, I wouldn't be here. Especially my clan coming from extreme northern Scotland, where they did. So, good. Thanks. Thank you. It don't seem like Norse Danish touched me much. That's crazy. It's really weird when you start going into your genealogy and looking at that stuff. Um, how many cultures bled in to your main groups. Um, I mean, think about it this way: if you are English or Welsh or um, Southern Scottish, then if you start digging really deep into your genealogy, you may find Greek or Roman genetics in your bloodline because of how far north the Roman Empire conquered. You know, they conquered over into Russia. They conquered into the beginning of the Middle East. They conquered clear up to the Scottish border, to Hadrian's Wall, almost all of England. They even got over into Ireland. So you just never know what you're going to run across when you really start digging deep into your genetics. I looked more Mediterranean than Northern European. Now, there goes the Roman Greek influence. Um, Charles Holroyd was the first Earl of Sheffield. Nice. It's nice that you've gone back that far. I figured that it was partly Roman. I got to head on down the trail. I'll pop in on Wednesday. Pop in on Wednesday. Okie doke. I am blood kin to the Longshanks. There you go. All right, Doc. You be careful out there. Give me a message or something tonight and let me know how it went at the museum today. And Princess 256th cousin or something like that. 256th cousin to Princess Diana. Hmm, interesting. You know, guys, I'm really trying to keep a positive outlook on the holidays and everything. But with all that stuff that we talked about at the very beginning of the stream, it's hard, and I'm thankful for you all keeping my mind off stuff and giving me other things to think about, and keeping me from winding up in the hospital with my anxiety and stuff. I'm really thankful for that. I wish we could do this more often than we can, and that's one reason why I am going to start doing the Friday night live interviews over on the other channel, the Paranormal Papa Investigations. I've been talking to Danny since he is my mentor, and I look up to him and respect him and his views on things extremely high. And so I'm going to have him as our First guest, I think this Friday evening over on the other channel, and talk about his experiences and um, things coming up for the new year and maybe even over the winter. You saw what he put down there earlier. He told me not to fret, that he had inside investigations in negotiation right now. So we'll see what happens with that. Um, Sounds good. Will do. See you later. Yes, sir. I'll be here. Not really the royal crap. Never did. Shit for me. Live. You could return to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I could, but man, I was so, I was pulled thin in between trying to do the live streams and trying to make the videos and trying to keep on top of things here. Um, Now I've added a second channel. So I don't think that I'm going to extend out my lives to more than just Monday. And then, of course, the live interviews on the other channel, on the Paranormal Papa podcast on Friday nights. Just this last week, since all that crap happened with my job and stuff, I spent 4 days out here blowing leaves, getting them all out of the yard. Now, understand that 90% of my leaves are the neighbors. They have got this privacy fence that runs up our drive, and all their trees hang over the privacy fence. So all the leaves fall in my driveway and down the length of the driveway and all over the front yard. The only leaves that are mine are my two big oak trees um, out here in the backyard. And it took me a half hour to blow those leaves down the hill and out onto the edge of the road for the city to pick them up. And but it took me 3 days to get the leaves all through the parking area, all the way up the drive, everything. And, you know, the people next door, my first day out there, they seen me struggling with 9 truckloads of leaves, getting them blown out to the curb lawn to be picked up. And they went out there, spent 10 minutes blowing their front yard, and went back in the house. I told the wife, I said, next year, if I they don't do something about these trees before then, next year I'm taking all these leaves and everything and I'm blowing them all down the drive to the end of the privacy fence and blowing them right over in their front yard. We will do what the old man in Detroit did this year and blew all of his neighbors' leaves back into his yard. And then when the neighbor sued him for blowing all of his leaves over there, the judge looked at the guy and said, not only is he not paying you, but you're paying him for taking care of your leaves. So that's a pretty good day's work for an old retired man to blow leaves into his neighbor's yard and get paid $500 for doing it. Talk about a good paying job. Took him less than 2 hours. So all of his neighbors' leaves back into his yard and made $250 an hour for doing it. Like you could. I donate truckloads of leaves to my neighbors every autumn. Such a such a nice neighbor I am. You are a nice neighbor. It's a beautiful day to live in a neighborhood with you. Leaves are the cost of trees, but they're not my trees, is the point. If they were my trees, I probably wouldn't complain. Now, see, the really rough thing, the thing that really irks my monkey is I spent 4 days blowing all these leaves, and by the time I got the leaves out to the two lawns, you couldn't even tell that I'd blown leaves. You couldn't even tell. The yard is completely covered. And go figure, the day that I planned on going out and blowing again, it snowed the first time. So now I've got tons of wet leaves under the snow, plus two huge piles of leaves on my curb lawn that not been picked up yet. If they were my trees, I would take it with a grain of salt, just like we did growing up. I'd get on Facebook Marketplace and look for some junked out damn mower mulcher deal and have one of my friends work on it and make it work good enough to go through and mulch these leaves up and blow them right back in the yard. We have a fella here in town that goes around with his rider mower mulcher with a big bag on the back and stuff. And he has been so busy. He's not had time to do anything. He told me last week he would try to make it down here in between jobs because he's a friend. He went to school with Steph, and they've always been really close. He's been here. We drank beer together, barbecued together. The same guy that gave me the helm on Halloween. Um, friend of the channel and everything. He told me, I'm hopping. He said I don't charge a lot, but I make damn good money going around mulching and vacuuming up leaves. Because I will try to get to you. He's not made it here yet. He's not made it here yet. My neighbors should be thankful that pine needles don't blow much. Amen to that, bud. Amen to that. I mean, we got those pine trees out here in the front yard, and if I had my way about it, that's all I would have. Is I mean, maybe not 9 pine trees in one yard, um, but I didn't plant them. Planted here 20, 21 years ago. I've been here for 10. But I would take down these two big trees in the backyard back here and just plant pine trees. 2 pine trees back there, maybe 2 or 3 pine trees in the front yard. That would be ideal for me. But yeah, all 90% of my blowing, 95% of my blowing is all the neighbors' leaves. They have, and even if I didn't have pine trees, I have 9, 10, 11. We have 11 trees on our property. They have 20, 20 trees on our property. They have great big trees that line the whole backyard and go clear up to the end of our drive. So, you know, and go figure, these are the smart folks. These are the ones who bring in a tree cutting crew that's family, unlicensed, the whole shebang. They cut down good trees and leave the great big 70-foot tall dead rotten trees. Honest to God. These are the same people that took out our internet and our electricity about 4 years ago, 5 years ago during a storm, when one of their tree limbs hanging over the privacy fence took out our electric line, our main electric line, and our internet line when the limb come off the tree into our driveway. This is why I try to have the wife park down on the road's edge when we have really bad storms, because you never know what their trees are going to do. I have not had any complaints about leaves so far. I have a 70-foot pine right out here, and it would be like first to go if I could afford it. I hate that thing. Yeah, all of ours are right in between 55 and 60, 65 feet. All of our pine trees. I mean, they've got so bad. And I don't think when Steph's grandpa planted those all those years ago, he took into consideration the fact these things were going to get humongous. I mean, he planted them 8 feet apart, and it just looks like 8 poles and a great big green dome going over the yard. You can't tell sometimes where one tree ends and another one begins, um, except on the ground. These things are big. You build a log cabin with these suckers. There's enough there's enough pine out in that front yard right now to keep Menards in business for a month and a half. But so many people have pine trees around here, you can't even give them away. That's the sad thing. We have a guy here in town that's been trying to build a log cabin for years, and he's been collecting pine trees. And I got a hold of him 2 summers ago and told him, if you want to come down here and take every other tree, you're welcome to them. You can have them. This guy cuts trees for a living. And he's like, man, he goes, I have enough pine right now laying out on my property that I could build a 3-story log cabin and still have leftovers. He goes, just finding the time to do it. One of these days, I'm going to use that thing, will burn my eyebrow off. Then I'll have a reason to wear this thing so low over my eyes. Um, there is no grass in a 40-foot circle under this thing. We're the same way. You know, we could have a beautiful front yard if, you know, we could get, like I said, 4 or 5 of these pine trees out. Because you go across our front yard, Danny has seen it. You know, Jan has seen it. You go across our front yard and get about 2/3 of the way across the front yard, and it's a dead zone. It is nothing but needles and dirt, maybe an occasional weed that pops up. I would love to get these things thinned out and then get them cut up a few more feet where you could actually get some rain and some sunlight into the area, and I would go through and throw grass seed down, just to make it look prettier. I might even landscape around the bottoms of the trees with some stone or something to decorate the yard up, and make it look pretty. One of the limbs took the roof off this garage when I got weighed down with snow. The base of the pine is 3 foot in diameter. Yeah, ours aren't that big. I think our biggest pine tree base, the stump, might be probably 2 foot. I mean, they're not huge at all. They're only about yay big around, um, at the base. But they're so tall. My God, they are tall. Yep, you have trees. We have trees. Half trees will not travel. This tree has to be 75 or 100 years old. See, the really funny thing is how fast pines grow. I mean, you can tell when you're around an old pine. It's 4 or 5 feet around at the base. It's 70, 80 feet tall. Got real strong limbs. You know, these pines, we know exactly when they were planted. They moved this home in here 22 years ago, like June, early July. 22. This year will make 22 years, or no, this year will make 23 years. 2026. And these trees were planted 2 years after the house was moved in here, when they had to tear down the old house that originally sat on this property. Um, but they put these trees in out here 2 years after they moved the house in. Now the oak trees out here in the backyard, well, it would technically be the front yard because the house sits sideways on the property. And so you have the front of the house going the long way and the side of the house, you know. But those two oak trees, they are well over 100 years old. I'll tell you that right now. They are about 5 feet around at the base, um, and tall. Tall. My God, they're tall. If I could see and, well, could afford the lumber, I would like to have them cut about 6 feet up. And I've always enjoyed building, I've always enjoyed creating. And now that I have little granddaughters, I think it would be really cool to have both trees cut about 6 foot up and build them, like their own little tree houses up on the tops of these stumps with, the bridge that connects them and everything. Give them their own little fairy play center. Um, that's what I'd like to do. Like a whole fairy play center, jungle gym, huge thing where they could have, like, come over and hang out and stuff like that. when they get too old for them, we tear down the tree houses, and I have a chainsaw carver come in and, do like, yeah, chainsaw carvings on the stumps or something like that. Hell, if I could get my eyes fixed, I'd go out and get a chainsaw and do it. Especially if I get this disability, because we'll be sitting pretty then. No more worries or anything, because we are not spenders. So the majority of that money is going to go in the bank. Especially if they still do the deal where you, when you're granted your disability, they go back to when you first filed. So if you guys will remember right, that was February of 2021 when I originally filed. I know back when my mom got her disability, um, she filed and she was denied, and then she filed again and was denied, and then she filed again, and they retroacted the pay back to her original filing, and she got two checks, one for 30,000 and one for 40,000, one for 35,000 and one for 40,000. That's how they bought, or that's how they retired. They only had to put up another 10,000 cash to buy the original house that they retired in. And then when it got too much taken care of for the old man, they got a loan and bought the house they're in now and sold the other house. So everybody, yeah, yeah. I just saw that. Who was that? Was that Bud Files? Was that Bud? No, that was Mr. Holton. Good morning, Mr. Holton. Hope you're doing good this morning. Gotta go out and finish tying down my tarp on the camper. I'll save that for after my shave. Good deal, Mr. Clark. Jan morning. Hope you're doing great. Doing good time. It took me 8 months to get that first check. You were they roughed you up a little bit. It took my mom a month and a half to get her two checks in the mail. Um, yeah, about a month and a half. Because I know she was happy. She was excited when they came. Good luck, Drew. I didn't get full back pay. My lawyer took over half. Um, but 1 month from when I gave them the doctor's letter. I'm still here. Yes, you are. I will. It's just a minute job. Cut my pinky toe yesterday, trimming my nails. Bleeder. My warfarin is no joke. No, God, and be careful, dude. That's all you need to do, on top of everything else that's happened to you, to get a damn cut on your pinky toe or something and it get infected. I hate trimming my toes. I could pick up a bunny rabbit with my feet like an eagle before I trim my toenails. I hate it because it scares the hell out of me. And then my doctor even said I needed to go to a podiatrist to get my toes trimmed, not to do it myself because I cannot see the proper angles. But not having the insurance, I can't just go see a podiatrist, have him trim my toes. And I sure as hell can't get the wife to do it. I mean, to her, feet are the ugliest thing God ever created, and nobody needs them. They serve no purpose. She wants nothing to do with, you might as well, I think you got a better chance asking her to stick a chainsaw up her butt than asking her to trim your toenails. It's terrible. Warfarin is rat poison. Dead serious. There are better options. Oh, I got Tony. I'm on the rest of the days. AFib sucks. Um, my mom had AFib and was on warfarin. We had to be very careful. I get changed from rat poison, anticoagulant. It is rat poison. Not for me. Have an array of things. That was the only thing that works. My other meds, I kid you not. Had me on as a blood thinner for the blood clots. I do not remember what that medicine was, um, but it made me a bleeder. It made me a bleeder like crazy. Like getting older, your skin is not already thin enough, and you bleed like crazy with the simplest scratch. But this stuff, my God, you would almost think you hit an artery or something every time you what the hell? Every time you cut yourself or something. It was bloody terrible. Um, I think the thing I miss the most, not not taking the other issues into account, but the ropinirole for my neuropathy. There is nothing in the world, and I say this to anybody out there does not suffer from diabetes or have neuropathy in some way, shape, or form. It is not just your RLS. It is not just restless leg syndrome. You feel like you've got a hundred little bugs constantly crawling on you. You're hot. Your legs, your feet, your toes, they get very hot, and I mean constantly you feel like you got 9 layers of clothes on over your feet and your legs. But your feet get super cold, super easy, and it will move up into your hands, your fingers, your arms, um, and to the point where you could cut yourself doing something in your kitchen or something, and you won't even know it until you slip in the puddle of blood. Of all my medicines, that is the one that I physically miss the most is that ropinirole for the neuropathy. I think it is named Eliquis, but I can't remember which of these 13 prescriptions Do what? Good morning, Bud Files. Good to see you. Hope you're doing good this morning. Um, Stonus, neck and spine surgery, rotator cuff surgery, brain surgery, mini stroke, double ablation surgery, recent spinal cyst removed, have a non-serious MS disease, connective tissue disorder. Jesus criminy. I still bleed pretty freely, but nothing like on warfarin. There's more. I'm upright and going forward, and that's all we can do. You know, I've, since getting my medicines all cut off, not having the insurance, I have tried to calm my life down a little bit. Um, and now the forces that be are doing it for me. Losing my job and everything has taught me that maybe I do need to slow down a little bit. Losing my eyesight and the the other little problems. Um, my son told me a long time ago when I hurt my back and I was down flat on my back for a while. Told me that maybe it's time that you hang the cape up and just start wearing the world's greatest dad sweatshirt. You don't need to save the world, but it'd be nice to see you save yourself. It's kind of stuck with me. We just recently found out that the wife has got herniated discs in her lower back, but she can't take the time off work to get them worked on, especially now. She's our only income. She can't take the time off work. She could be flat on her back for a month and a half after having back surgery, especially doing all the lifting and stuff that she does at work. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's lifting hundreds of thousands of dollars at a time. If I had to lift a bunch of stuff at work, I would be very happy that it's huge bricks of money. Um, but, for those of us who, don't have large bricks of money at home, they can get heavy, especially when you've got 15 or 20 of these things that you have to refill every few days, every day or so, every couple days. And you have to load them on a cart and you pick them up off the desk, put them, stack them on the cart, take them out to the machines, pull the old cartridges out of the machines, put the new cartridges in the machines. There's a lot of picking up and twisting and stuff. And we just found out she's got multiple herniated discs in her lower back. So, you know, she has to be off for a month and a half. We'll lose the house. We'll lose everything. Plain and simple. So she is trying to hold off for this disability thing for me so she can take the time off to get herself fixed. Aside from the heart, upright, aside from the heart and diabetes, I'm doing well. Kidney function looks better, thank God, and cancer free. That is the thing we are monitoring too. Runs in family. Uh, yeah, the cancer thing scares me too. I'm really scared to go back to the doctor because it runs in both sides of my family, my mom and my dad's side. So that really scares me. Just had lung scan, all is good. 50 years of smoking. I am walking experiment for my doctors. Same here. Keep going. All we can do. Amen to that. I had the top of my stomach tied into a knot to stop reflux and procedure my doctor came up with himself. Oh, it's always nice to be a guinea pig. Always nice to be a guinea pig. It seemed to work well for me. Yeah, I figured it was tied in a knot and not tied in a no. But all right, guys, it is that time. It is time for me to be like a fat baby, and Jan just put something there. We had our yearly physicals last week. Jay is in need of losing 50 pounds. We have to work on that. Apply for disability. You're over 50. Seriously, my friend. I've already applied for disability. I've already applied for it, and they have taken the case. And with everything that we discussed just over the phone, they said it sounds like a surefire thing. Especially them cutting off my Medicaid, losing all my medicine, everything going untreated for 2 years, almost three. That yeah, and they got disability for Steph's uncle rather quickly, and even sent him to the doctor, and they just added it to the bill. Um, but they got it for him real quick. So we're waiting to see what happens with that. But stomach knot is how I lost 40 pounds with no effort. Love y'all. Take care. Take care, folks. Love Danny. Take care. Later, everyone. Take care, folks. Drew, don't be a stranger. No way, dude. You guys all take care. I'm going to get out of here and start working on um, this next paranormal flashback for the Paranormal Papa channel, and take advantage of this time. It's a wife's idea to file for disability. She told me, she said, don't tell me you wouldn't enjoy sitting around the house doing your thing and still getting paid for it. She ain't wrong, but man, it's boring. Especially when it's crappy and snowy outside and you can't go out and do anything. But I'm out of here. You guys all take care. Have a great week. Friday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Paranormal Papa Investigations. As long as we can keep on the schedule this week, we're going to have Danny on there. And it's going to be good. I have confidence in that. But until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. God bless you. God love you. I do. We'll see you later.